Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 video. In this video, after the patch update has been out for about a week, I made a top 5 guns. I've talked about the majority of main weapons that have been updated, and in tonight's video, I want to talk about what I think is the best gun in this game because it has changed from before based off these patch notes, and sort of a lot of it based on the patch notes and a lot of it just based off getting more experience and playing the game. So I'm going to talk about what I think is the best gun overall in the game as of right now. We're going to talk about that in tonight's video, and I think a lot of you guys will agree. I'm sure some people will disagree as well, but I'm going to talk about honorable mentions, and this gun may be the best in my opinion, but it's only my opinion, and it's only a little bit better. You know, if you pick any of the top 5 guns, which I made a top 5 guns video before and after patch, which either of them are great guns still in the game, you guys should check those out, because with either of those top 5 guns, you'll do great in this game. But today we're talking about not top 5, we're zoning in on top number 1. So if you guys could smack a like on this video, let's do it. Let's go for 1,500 likes. Smack that like button if you guys can. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Once again, very, very close to 900,000 subscribers. We may have it by the time you guys are watching this video, but just subscribe. We want to hit that million subscriber mark at some point in Black Ops 4, which would just be absolutely incredible. And my YouTube journey's been just such a great experience. So you know, so far, of course, we still have a lot more to go, hopefully. So I appreciate you guys. Drop a like and let's talk about it. Now, the best gun in the game, in my opinion, and in a lot of the opinion of professional players and different other stuff like that, is the Maddox RFB, or just known as the Maddox, which is an assault rifle unlocked at level, what is it, 54, 50? It's an assault 49 maybe. Assault rifle unlocked very, very late. And why is this so good? So we're going to go through a couple of different things. Now, the first thing is the Maddox, and I was sort of sleeping on the Maddox early in the game. I didn't think it was that great before the before the patch. It was great, but I didn't think it was that so much of a superior weapon. And a lot of the fact was because myself, I wasn't using it too much because I was going through the prestiges, and of course it's a later unlock. Once I use my prestige unlock token on this thing, I started playing with this gun a lot more, and that's why you see I included on my last top 5, and I think this gun is absolutely amazing. Now, the first thing to talk about is the assault rifles. So the assault rifles got nerfed pretty heavily. Every assault rifle got a slight reduction to the ADS move speed and a slight reduction to the ADS transition speed. So this hurts all the ARs. However, this hurts assault rifles a little bit less that have stock available. And the Maddox is one that has stock available. Next is the ICR. They hit that with reduced headshot damage and a slight reduction to reload speed. That one also does not have fast mags available, and 35 in the clip, I think it is, or 35 in the magazine. And then the Vapor, they added more damage fall off, reduced the headshot range, and reduced the high caliber multiplier, which was one of the cheese ways to make the Vapor super duper strong. Now, the Vapor and ICR are still top 5 weapons in this game. That is undeniable. But I think the number 1 is the Maddox, and the reasoning behind it is because mainly based off of, like, it's almost statistically better than almost all the other assault rifles in most categories, right? So we're going to talk about that. Now, the first thing with the Maddox is when it comes down to magazine size, right? So Rampart has 30, all the other ARs has 35, Maddox has 40, and that's just off default. You have an advantage right there. Next is your ADS time. All of the ARs have pretty much the exact ADS time before the patch. I'm not sure about after the patch. I'm guessing they would update them the same because they nerfed them all the same. So the ADS time is pretty much the same for all of them. If you do rock Quick Draw 2 on the Maddox, that makes the Maddox like almost half the speed and makes it one of the fastest ADS in the game. Or with just Quick Draw 1. The Maddox has a very, very fast ADS speed. Next thing with the reload time. The reload time is actually the slowest on the Maddox at a 1.77 total, but that is because it has 40 bullets. But when you slap on fast mags, it becomes a 1.07 on those fast mag reloads, which beats all of the ARs except for a couple of them when they have fast mags also. When you have fast mags on, it beats everything else default, of course, as it should. So basically, fast mags is a attachment you want to prioritize on this gun, because even though you have 40 in the magazine, and you can see based off those magazine ADS and reload stats, if you do run fast mags, and even with or without quick draw, the Maddox is a monster of a weapon. Next, when we get into the damage, the Maddox does 32 damage or 27 at range, and it takes 5 or 6 bullets to kill. Now, this is standard with assault rifles, as all the other ones take that as well, except the KN takes 4 to 6, and the Ramparts takes 4 to 5. But with the Maddox, you have a fire rate of 746, and this is why I think pro players are gravitating towards this gun as the best gun, and this is the main stat that makes me think this is the best gun. The fire rate is 746. To put that in comparison, the Vapor had a 667, the Rampart a 529, 570 for the KN, and the 615 for the ICR. The only one that's comparable is the Vapor, and it's still almost 100 points less. And the Maddox, it still kills in the same amount of shots. So if it kills in the same amount of bullets with a faster fire rate, plus the Maddox basically has no recoil except a little bit of vertical. I will say it has a little bit of vertical recoil. You can see statistically why this is the best gun in the game, and practically too, because I use it and you see this gameplay. I just got this gameplay last night as well. It's 746 rounds per minute, and then 814 with Echo Fire. So if you add Echo Fire, you are basically like double lapping almost all of these other ARs, like 100 or 200 points higher in the RPM. And then the time to kill, of course, because like I said, if you have a fast fire rate, but you have like no recoil, no damage punishments, it's the same amount of shots to kill. It's just how the math adds up. The time to kill on this is the fastest. It's the fastest killing assault rifle. And or actually, other than Rampart High Caliber 2, where if you use that, but that's of course you have to hit those shots perfectly every single time. This one, you just spray them in the body and you kill them in 0.4 seconds, and that's 0.37 if you add Echo Fire on it. Which Echo Fire is cool, and I'll probably make a video on it. But I just think that it's something that it makes the gun a little bit different, right? So as far as the Maddox, those are some statistical backings onto why I think this gun is the best. But if you're not into statistics and you're more into just practicality, basically insane fire rate, decent damage, and good at range. You can't really go wrong, and also good reloads, good aim down sight speed, and good magazine size. So you'll see all the pros are sort of gravitating towards the Maddox. Some people are using the SMGs as well. I think it's the SOG 9mm, the SMG that players are using, but the majority of players are going towards the Maddox, especially, of course, assault rifle players are using that. Now, as far as the class setup, I know people are going to want to know my class setup that I used on this gameplay with the Maddox, and I'm not sure if it's the exact same class setup as I was rocking before with the Maddox, before patch, but it's a very, very, like, it's nothing too fancy of a class setup, honestly. It's something that is kind of simple and just execute. So it's the Maddox with Elo sight, quick draw, stock, and fast mags. Those are my attachments. Elo sight, the one downside about this gun I would say is the iron sights are kind of whack. But I say that a lot. In this game, I'm kind of picky about the sights. I don't know why. But Elo sight is great on it, even with the nerfs to Elo, where they added recoil or whatever. It's barely noticeable. If you do have trouble with the Elo, slap on a reflex. I mean, this is personal preference, right? You can even go no sight. And then I run quick draw, stock, and fast mags. Now, a very good setup. Honestly, I like that because I get basically stuff that speeds up the weapon on a weapon that's already so fast. Quick draw, stock, and fast mags. Just insanity. They make this weapon gun on gun. You should be winning your fights, right? And then I have acoustic sensor on the class setup. That's just my go-to thing. You can run stim shot, you can run comm sec, you can run body armor, whatever you want. I really actually think body armor is very good for players who are just trying to maintain a 1 KD or a 1.5 KD, who want to get a kill every life. Body armor can be a huge contributor to that, and it can help you win gunfights no problem up the start. I actually think it's not that bad of a choice, especially for certain players. You know, it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And then my perks are just tac mask, gung ho, dead silence. Pretty standard stuff. If they're using grenades, I'll swap out tac mask to flak jacket. If I want to run a different specialist other than crash, I will just throw scavenger on there and sort of just suffer with no tac mask or flak jacket, because this is a gun where you can beat SMGs at close range. You can beat assault rifles at long range, even like an ICR. You can basically win every gunfight, and that's why I say overall, much like how I like the Vapor Silencer as my go-to gun before this patch, this gun is just overall so damn good. And the facts are, when you look into it, just like with the fire rates, for example, this gun has a faster fire rate than the MX-9. It has a faster fire rate than the GKS. You can see, like, and just it's like 746 RPM, and then the cordite is 812. So, I mean, if this is why the balance just doesn't work in this game, when the assault rifles are shooting almost as fast as your close-range SMGs, and then, you know, of course, Spitfire shoots at 1,000, and the SOG shoots at 900, which is, the SOG is great. But you can see that there's definitely some balance issues in this game, and this has happened before in Black Ops games, but they usually always you know, eventually get it right, or get it at least to a decent spot with the meta. So what I'm looking for is just more and more updates to be coming out on this, and different stuff to, you know, just constantly be updating. But with the Maddox, I definitely do think this is the gun, man. Use a prestige token on it. I did, and I don't regret it at all. If you're not prestiging, you can just rock with this thing. I mean, this thing is great, and it's really fun to use as well, which is nice. Is that it is fun to use, and it reminds me a lot of, like, I think it was the ARX or whatever that was called in IW. Names, you know, I can't really think of the name right now, but pro players gravitated towards that over a gun like the NV4, which you know, this was at a certain point in the game before more balance changes came in, because it's either, do you want a steady gun, or do you want a gun that's going to beat at close range? And when players are very good at the game, you know, competitive players, they have no problem with a little bit of recoil or with dealing with that at range. They want the fastest fire rate because they know how to control it. So thanks for watching, guys. I do believe the Maddox is the best gun as of right now, and I do like this class up. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and have a great night, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.